Hello, this is George from the Village Silversmith. Today we're going to talk about cutting stones, especially the ones that we have here in our store. We do all our own stone cutting, and I'm kind of the man in charge of cutting the stones and picking the material. The most common question that's asked is, how do I know what's inside the stone? Well, the answer is you don't really know what's inside the stone until you take and cut it open and take a look inside. This stone, actually, on the outside you would never recognize it nor understand that real color inside is pink. This is a stone known as rhodochrosite. It comes from Argentina, and as you can see, the manganese coating on the outside pretty much hides the stone. Now this piece that you see here that's coming off, I used a ball peen hammer to give it a little tap along a weak line and see what's inside before I decided which way to cut and how to cut. Here you can see what a lapidary does. We take a piece like this and we have a diamond tipped saw, diamond bladed saw, that will go through and cut the stone open. Sometimes the stones are good, sometimes they're not so good. These all have different patterns. This pattern here, where you see the zigzag lines and stuff, that's known as the bacon rhodochrosite because it looks like a piece of sizzling bacon. Here's a beautiful piece of lapis, and what this is really one thick layer. Lapis forms in layers, and cutting these layers and the thickness of these layers will determine your final stone and the amount of product you get. You lose as much as 75% and as high as 90% in some stones that you cut. Here's another piece of lapis, and you can see the layering effect right there. You see how there's a layer. But you don't often notice the layer because if you look at it from this angle, you don't see any lines. With careful study, however, and a little bit of slicing through the lapis, you can get the plan for the cutting. This is my 14-inch saw. This will handle something like this, and it kind of slices it like a loaf of bread. I'll show you the inside. This is a brace stone over here, and right in here, this is in case one of the screws loosen. This will help to prevent it from rocking the stone that's in the vise here. Over here you can see the stone. It's a piece of that black obsidian that we were looking at, and the diamond blade is right here. This is the diamond blade that's going to cut the stone. Obsidian has a hardness of about 5. This blade is meant to cut stones in the hardness range of 8 and 9. This is a 10-inch saw, diamond bladed, just like the other. And this machine is a beauty. You can cut things about the size of a baseball. But unlike the other 14-inch diamond, this has a very, very thin blade. The thinner the blade, the less material I will lose, and the more accurate the cut. But it won't withstand very, very hard material. If it does, it's going to only cut a very, very small amount. Maybe I can cut a piece of hard material that's about a square inch. In the 14-inch, I can cut a square piece of the same material, maybe 6 square inches. I'm going to put this little saw down and show you what a piece of rhodochrosite looks like after it's in the small machine. It comes out in pieces like this. There's your bacon rhodochrosite. These small pieces we'll be getting ready to cut stones from later on. Here's a stone here that's gone through the 600, much like the other one, and what I'm going to do now is rub it against this cerium oxide pad. Now, what really is making the polish is not only the cerium oxide, but heat. I'm supplying the heat through friction by pressing against it. I don't know if you can see it, but the stone is starting to take a polish. You see the tip is different than along the sides. Now there's, as I mentioned, other types of tricks. You'll see some people will take and they'll put citric acid on the pad. The citric acid helps make it hotter quicker, and it gives you a better shine in less time. I just like to use friction. Once in a while I'll use a citric acid if I have a lot of stones and I want to improve the speed.